Moncrief, McDonald, James Washington, Switzer, Connor and Samuels, and Juju Smith-Schuster. But who's throwing them the ball? It's a Steeler you don't know at all. Rudolph, the Steelers quarterback, picked him last year 3rd round. Outlasted Dobbs and Landry, now he's the only one around. All of the other Steelers say he preps like a madman. He even wears his helmet on the sideline to back up Big Ben. Then in week 2, Ben got hurt, season-ending injury. Tomlin put him in and said, "Lead my team to victory." Then he threw for 2 touchdowns. Still, the Steelers, they lost the game. Rudolph, the Steelers quarterback, not quite in the Hall of Fame. Second verse, not quite like the first. Rudolph, the Steelers quarterback, Mason never took a real game snap.
Just preseason.
But he did not look too bad.
Nah.
Since week 1, they all played like crap.
Against the Patriots.
All of the Steelers fan base
Nation
is hoping he will be the guy.
franchise player.
Hopefully they'll cheer poor Rudolph.
Hey.
And if he sucks, well, it's worth a try.
Call up Charlie Batch.
Maybe he will keep this job like Ben did years ago. Tommy Maddox cursing now, that Steelers quarterback elbow. The Steelers will do just fine,
Well,
or as fine as they can do.
maybe last place.
But Rudolph, the Steelers quarterback,
Mason
leads a team that's 0-2.
like the Dolphins.
Leads a team that's 0-2.
My, oh my. What the hell was that? Move over, Bob Dylan. Move over, Weird Al. That might have been the greatest lyrics I've ever heard in my entire life, baby.
I don't even know if Gene Autry could have done a better rendition. I'll be honest.
My God, that was incredible. Welcome to the Sweatshop, the one-stop shop for talking shop, and apparently the one-stop shop for the greatest Christmas tune of all time. Written by the Maestro. Oh, so wonderfully. I love the arrangement, man.
Ho, 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 baby.
Oh, we're going to talk about them hoes when Sam Darnold gets up. But first, but first we got to talk about this craziness that happened. Let's just talk about Mason Rudolph. Ben Roethlisberger, as we all know now, is going to be out for the season with, I guess, an elbow injury. He's going to have to get surgery on, and he's old. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to take a long time for him to recover from that. And Mason Rudolph, I think that's the 3rd round draft pick, right?
Yeah, drafted him in the 3rd round last year.
Ben Roethlisberger.
So not 2019, but 2018's draft. Because he was the quarterback that Ben was a little miffed last year.
He was.
In the time it takes you to realize you should.
Yeah, he was mad as hell with that. That boy was mad. So, real talk. If you're that mad, you know what I mean. I guess you can't be that mad now. I don't think he played bad at all.
No, I thought he did all right. I mean, like I wrote, I thought he didn't look too bad.
No,
I think he'll be serviceable. I don't think he'll be a major downgrade.
Right.
Over Ben Roethlisberger for the future. So I don't think he's necessarily gonna all of a sudden skyrocket them past the Ravens and Browns and stuff.
Right.
But I don't think he'll be the one losing games for them necessarily.
No, absolutely not. No, I thought he played very well. It surprised me, especially since Ben Roethlisberger didn't do much of anything. And can we talk about Big Ben really quick? Big Ben, through 2 games, has 0 touchdowns and 1 interception with 62 attempts, 56% completion percentage for 351 yards. That is piss poor.
Well, apparently, his elbow was already bothering him last week. So
Well,
I'm not trying to make an excuse for him
I'm
or
gonna make,
anything.
yeah,
Like it's still not a great excuse because obviously you felt good enough to play, and then all of a sudden, week 2 comes around and
right,
now you're out.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know the entire truth to all that, but it kind of came out after the fact because I think it was Rudolph that let it slip out there that it seemed like Ben was bothered with the elbow during the Patriots game, which explains a little bit.
Sure.
Probably explains why there was only 3 points instead of I don't know 10 or 17, whatever. You know what I mean? But still doesn't excuse the fact that still put a trouncing on them in week 1, and then last week, this past week with what they did against the Seahawks and how pretty much Seahawks had them dominated, but then all of a sudden Rudolph had them back in the game. It was close.
Yeah.
He almost lit that red nose up.
What's the what are we calling this segment? Sweat stat what?
The sweat stat dive.
The sweat stat dive, baby. Let's take a deep dive into this really quick. Only 19 attempts by Mason Rudolph. He has 2 touchdowns already.
Yeah. He does have an interception, but
he had to come back in the game.
For somebody who's never played a real game snap, like I said, literally his career NFL stats are last game, 12 for 19. Those are his stats.
That's it
for the NFL career. Granted, he's only been in the league. This is his second year, but still, they didn't even think of giving him any kind of work last year.
Right.
Like anything.
So kudos to Mason Rudolph for everything that he's done so far. Just coming in, stepping in, and just coming back on the Seahawks of all teams. Kudos to him for coming in. I hope he has great success because I think Ben Roethlisberger, I think it's about time for him. I mean, that's just a personal opinion. He's been banged up for so long. I think it's time for him to hang it up. I do. I mean, I know we got some Big Ben fans, Steeler Nation with the flags, with the towels. Woo, 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 with the terrible towels. Remember angry Steelers fan? Remember that dude?
Oh yeah.
My angry gay Steelers fan.
Oh, that one. I thought you were talking about my admirer from.
Oh, no. I'm talking about from way back. Back.
That's way back.
Oh, yeah.
Way back.
Yeah. No. It's not a homophobic thing, baby. It's just he was just an excited gay Steelers fan who would wave that towel, baby. he would get so animated, and I used to talk shit to him all the time because he used to get so flustered every time.
I think the funniest thing he ever said was I think you were saying something, and he just goes, "I'm gonna stab you.
I'm just kidding.
I'm kidding." It was just hilarious. We had a good time.
He did.
He was a good person.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he was a good dude. But yeah, that was hilarious. He's like, "I'm gonna stab you. I'm just kidding." That was too funny. Yeah, but I hope Ben has a speedy recovery. I just think it's time for him to hang it up. He's just had too many nicks, and all this other stuff. I hope Mason Rudolph proves to be more than serviceable, so they can go ahead and move on, and maybe they'll go ahead and get some nice draft picks this year. Because unless he plays out of his mind, I don't see the Steelers winning more than probably 6 games now. That's just the way they played the first 2 weeks. Do you disagree with that at all?
No. I think that's pretty accurate. Because like I said, I really don't think this is going to be a major downgrade from Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
So and we kind of projected the Steelers in the beginning to be 3rd place, so as it was. But now the Bengals are actually looking surprisingly better than I thought they would, even without AJ Green. So they might be last place this year.
Ooh.
They might.
It's possible.
They might be last.
I mean, it's good for them though. I mean, because they need, it's good to have a draft pick, a high draft pick, so you can, get some guys that you need on that, especially in the cornerback world. I think they need some cornerbacks. They need some wide receivers now, don't they? They need some folks, baby. But more injury news. I mean, all all this week. Drew Brees is going to be out for, I think they said, about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
With I guess some ligaments in his thumb.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's a guy who never really gets hurt ever. So that's unfortunate for him, and unfortunate for the team because as much as people like Teddy Bridgewater, he's going to get another chance, another shot. He's no Drew Brees. The accuracy, especially, that's the thing that they're going to miss the most because Drew Brees is probably one of the most accurate quarterbacks ever to play. So, and you're going to Teddy Bridgewater, who's, I like Teddy, but I don't know how many games they're going to win with Teddy. So it's going to be tough sledding now that the landscape has changed a little bit in the NFC South.
Yeah. I mean, because the Saints were almost projected to be the favorites at that point, with Drew Brees, and now that he's out for 6 weeks, who knows what direction this will take. This is just going to be, it's just going to see how much of that team, how much that team can sustain itself without Drew Brees, meaning like if they can still have that pretty solid running game without Drew Brees behind there kind of manning it. Like, if they can still get Kamara going, even mix in a little bit more of Latavius Murray to harken back to like when it was Mark Ingram and Kamara or like Pierre Thomas and that kind of stuff. Because that part didn't change. It's just really the quarterback. All the other personnel has stayed the same. The defense has improved from years past, so they're going to really have to heavily rely on that defense now to keep them in games, because I don't know if that offense is going to be as high-powered now with Bridgewater, or even when they do kind of like the Wildcat stuff with what's-his-face, Taysom Hill or whatever his name is, the dude that kind of is like the scat quarterback or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I know they're going to keep switching them in and out, maybe to try and keep them guessing.
Yeah.
But it's really going to see what Sean Payton can do in sort of like the next man up mentality. Like this, I think that'll really see like if he is the wizard or if he's the dude behind the curtain.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, it's really Sean Payton's like, okay, are you really that offensive genius or not? And or is Drew Brees just the man? We know Drew Brees is the man. He's done it not just with the Saints, he did it with San Diego too. So we know he's the man. But it's unfortunate for Drew, and it might be longer than 6. I mean, he's old. I mean, those ligaments don't heal as quick as they want to, especially when you get older. But we'll see how many supplements this man takes.
And they say likely 6 weeks.
Right.
Because I think that's like the normal.
That's the normal
recovery time. So who knows how, especially being a quarterback and it's on his throwing hand.
Absolutely.
So maybe the recovery time is 6 weeks for somebody who's not using that as their throwing hand. But if even after that 6 weeks, he still can't throw, he might be missing a majority of the season here.
It's possible. It really is possible. Unfortunate. Good for the Falcons, but unfortunate for Drew. So I know you mentioned manning that ship earlier. Let's talk about Eli Manning. Oh. How quickly did this occur? That was unexpected for me. I didn't think it was going to happen this fast. We knew it was going to happen, but I didn't think it was going to happen week 3. Like, you know what I mean? I did not think so.
Yeah, I thought they'd at least give him a chance. I mean, I thought they would at least give him a chance because, and I think it's slightly unfair. Not to say that Daniel Jones shouldn't get in and get some work, but like, Golden Tate's still not back. Like, he doesn't have his full receiving core right now.
Right.
Golden Tate's still suspended. Sterling Shepard was out last week. So really, those are your top 2 wideouts, and you don't have them. And you're relying on Cody Lattimore? Like a bunch of nothing. You're relying on Saquon, and that's it. And Saquon can only do so much.
No, really.
And Evan Ingram. That's pretty much it. Like Evan Ingram and Saquon. So like, he was already kind of behind the 8 ball as far as the offense was concerned, and now all of a sudden you're benching him week 3. I mean that.
Yeah.
I'm all for giving the rookie an opportunity, but like,
right.
this was quick. Like that was real quick.
It was real
he must
quick.
have had he must have had a real short leash coming into this.
Yeah, maybe they told him already. Maybe they told him like, hey man, we might give this young boy a shot early in the season. If things aren't going the way we wanted to go. Like it could have been said already.
But did they expect to win? And do well? I cannot believe in my heart of hearts that they actually thought that they would do well the first 2 weeks.
I don't know.
Because in my mind, I'm like, no, they're definitely not going to do well in the beginning. And then they might put in Daniel Jones and he'll do okay. But I don't think he's still going to light the world on fire. And all of a sudden the Giants are making a wild card spot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's going to be that dude to ignite the fire and all of a sudden the team plays out of their mind.
Right.
Like, that's just not in the cards this year.
I think he would have done well to sit behind him for a full year. I mean, personally, like a full year and just see, a veteran work, because sometimes you just need to see it, and then next year if they wanted to go ahead and start him, it's right off the bat, no competition or whatever, go ahead and start him. Like, I mean, that's I don't know. Like, I thought this was a lost season anyway. Go ahead and get your draft picks. Go ahead and win your 2-3 games or whatever for the year, because you're not going to win more than 4. I mean, unless Daniel Jones is like that. Like, unless he's balling out like that, they're not going to win more than 4 games. Like, it's not that type of team. This team is going to lose. They do not have enough firepower on offense at all. They just don't. And their defense isn't good enough to hold it. So it's going to be a tough road no matter who is quarterback of that team. Like, honestly, like it could have been Tom Brady. It could have been anybody. That team is just not set up to win. It's just not set up to win. So unfortunately for him, it is what it is. Best of luck to Daniel Jones. I mean, it's going to be tough up there, man. I hope he doesn't get shell shocked. I hope he doesn't get one of those situations where, he gets caught up, in the beginning, just getting knocked around, beat up, and loses his confidence, loses his his will to play. You don't want that to happen to him either. So, man, and
I think that'd be on the coaching and the management at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because if you're gonna thrust your legit rookie quarterback into that situation, like they're almost setting him up to fail in a way.
Yeah.
So if he becomes a head case because of that, like that's all coaching. I feel like that's not him, because you really didn't give him a full opportunity to learn.
Right. No.
Sometimes
absolutely.
you expect these rookie quarterbacks to come in and just light the world on fire, but like, I mean, people got to learn. People learn differently. So like
let the boy learn.
Exactly. Let the boy watch.
he needs
to learn. Exactly.
Let the boy watch, please.
That's because who knows? Like, who knows if Aaron Rodgers would have been as good if he didn't sit behind Brett Favre?
And that's nothing but facts.
You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Like, who knows what could have happened to Aaron Rodgers if he was automatically thrust in there?
There might be something to that, because think about this. Brett Favre, he led the league, the world in touchdowns, but he also led them in interceptions, right? Mm-hmm. That was his claim to fame.
Yeah.
He led them for both. Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw interceptions. So, like, him being behind Brett Favre, seeing the good and the bad, right, of Brett Favre, seeing the greatness that he had, he took the good of Brett and left the bad behind him and made himself a better quarterback. He soaked all that in, even though Brett wasn't really trying to teach him, like that, because I know they had like a little issue or whatever. Yeah. But he took all that in from Brett and made him a great quarterback. So, I mean, there is something to sitting behind a guy for a couple years, and he's the last one to really do that. Like, just to kind of sit behind him for like a couple years. Like, and I feel like that should be everybody but I think the reason why that worked is because Brett was still on top and he was still really good, and they were still winning games,
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, but also the Chiefs did it with Mahomes, and they left Alex Smith in there.
Well, they were still winning games though. Like,
I know, but if you're, to like just like who knows how Mahomes would have been? Like, obviously he's a better athlete than Alex Smith. That's no question.
Oh, sure.
But again, you left him sit on the bench knowing that he's a much better athlete than Alex Smith.
Right.
But he rode the bench.
He did.
And learned.
Now, if they were losing,
what to do, what not to do.
If they were losing, maybe he would have been brought in. But yeah, but
I don't know. I don't know. But at the same time, like I still think there's value in learning even if you're not winning games.
I agree.
They have to think more about the future. I don't know why they're trying to think of the right now.
I don't either, because they're not winning right now. So
no. That's why it
doesn't matter.
Your window's not open here, Giants.
Right.
Like it's closed. It's winter.
Oh no, it's gone.
That thing is snowed shut right now.
You got about 2 more years, baby. If at most, I mean at the very least, to get back on track. You need a great draft.
Yeah, you better hope Saquon doesn't do any of this stuff that most of these other players are trying to get traded.
It's going to be time. Yeah, because he's
like
time for
Jalen
the contract.
Ramsey trying to get traded and Antonio Brown getting released and then all this stuff.
Oh, my God.
Looks like the frickin' NBA right now.
No joke. I know people have been mentioning it, but it's very true, like how everything's going down. Pretty crazy. Let's talk about this kissing disease. Let's talk about the Sam Darnold getting nasty on everybody. Not only did he get nasty, but then
me to be nasty.
Not only did this boy get nasty, but he left his boy Trevor Siemian out to dry, man. His leg is all mangled up. I saw that right away. I said, "Oh, he gone." Like,
yeah,
he ain't coming back. That was it for him, man. And I was just like, ooh, ew, that was a nasty crumple of his ankle. Ugly. I guess this guy Falk came in, and he did okay.
Yeah,
Luke Falk.
Yeah, he did all right.
He did okay.
He
did serviceable. I mean, there's not much you can do in that situation. Coming in to play, that's just tough sledding against a team like Cleveland with that nasty front that they have. But I thought he did okay. He did the best he could. He didn't break everything off. He didn't break any arms or legs, so he came out there.
He stayed healthy.
Yep.
Illness free.
Yeah. So good for him, and hopefully Sam Darnold stops tonguing down bitches in the strip club. And
I have one piece of advice for you.
Or just trying to.
You in Jersey, baby.
Yeah,
you need to chill out.
You have to remember you're in East Rutherford.
Yeah,
you're not in like downtown Manhattan.
Yeah, you in that Jersey, in that dirty Jersey, baby.
In the dirt, yeah.
No, sir.
Stay out of those pools at the hotel, man.
Please do. Oh God, you need to calm down, man. Oh man, he living that good life.
Yeah,
said them girls ain't as clean as they were in USC, baby.
No,
they are not.
They don't got that California polish.
I'm so sorry, my Jersey friends that are ladies that are happy. If you're listening to this at all, I don't mean you. I just mean your friends. I just mean your friends. Oh God. Okay, so we're just going to talk about 2 games because those are the only games we care about. So let's talk about your game. Let's talk about Antonio Brown played. I was shocked, but I figured I guess they're trying to get the most out of what they got before the shit really hits the fan with him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would have thought because I said last show that I'd be surprised if he played because this thing really looked like it was going to take a tailspin and like things would progress a little further than they actually did. Like that's what I thought based on the allegations, based on all kind of like the evidence that was given. I thought at least the league would have made a decision before week 2 as far as like what's happening. But I guess, with them now talking with the first accuser on Monday, and I guess they spent 10 hours interviewing her or something like that.
Yeah.
About this whole thing.
Yeah.
So I could, at this point, I guess I'm seeing this is probably going to be a slower process, but now there's not only is there another like sexual misconduct allegation,
right?
But did you see the Pittsburgh doctor, what he said?
No, what did he say?
Oh my God. Well, so now not only does Antonio Brown have 2 sexual misconduct accusations, but this doctor in Pittsburgh is looking to like sue him because not only does Antonio Brown owe this doctor like $12,000, but he also like during a consultation like repeatedly just apparently just I can't even say this without laughing. He apparently just kept farting in his face.
He's such a dick. He's so crazy.
And there's a video like if you guys have the time, there's a video out it's on TMZ, and it's a video of him getting like one of those body scans to see how much percentage body fat you have.
Yeah.
And this dude's just standing there, and all of a sudden he just like cracks one off. He's like, "Yo, sorry, doc."
Oh
like,
my God.
Like, dude, come on.
What a dick.
Yeah. But I mean, like now in the now in the video, it's not right in his face, but like just the fact that he's just standing there and like the dude's like trying to, like work on him, and just like ripping ass all up in the doctor's office.
Oh my God.
So like now there's this thing. Like it's just like a big snowball rolling down the hill right now. And there's no reason why I don't believe any of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I told you last time, like I can't defend that. Like I can't defend this dude ripping ass in a doctor's face. I can't. Like I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. Like I don't know what to think. I don't know what to do.
Who does
it's just
that?
Like I just like the other two, like that one just gets me because I'm like, that's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. The other two are not like that. That's not joking. That's not funny. That's not, whatever. But just like all this stuff is now coming out on him, and like I'm willing to bet there's going to be more that comes out about him because of all this stuff, and I just. If like I said before, if I was the Patriots, I would just be like, dude, stop farting in people's faces. Like, stop being an idiot. Go get help. Like,
yeah, he needs help.
Even if you want to come back and play, you need to go get help first. Like, it just seems like he just is like a child. Like, it just seems like he has the mentality of a child, and he really hasn't like grown up.
Yeah, no, it's a shame. It's honestly a shame. But we're gonna keep you guys updated on the status of that, and we'll give our opinions on it all. I mean, I was just surprised he played, but with this, I'm gonna dive deep in that the sweat stats dive right now and talk about how Tom Brady spread this ball around more than a stripper spreads her ass cheeks.
Oh, he gave it to everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. 4 for 56, 4 for 51, 2 for 47, 3 for 39, 2 for 33, 3 for 19, 2 for 19. I mean, he's just spreading this thing around, baby. And like the clap. I mean, it's crazy. Like he's going all the way in, and Tom is just it looked so simple for him out there, even in the heat. It was hot out. It was hot out. He don't like the heat. He don't like it. But he's still balled out, and this is how bad Miami is. Oh my God. Fitzpatrick and Rosen combined. This is a combination between the two because they look like they played like equal amounts.
Pretty much.
18 for 39. That is less than 50%, ladies and gentlemen. Less than 50%. 142 yards. No touchdowns. 4 interceptions. 7 sacks. My God.
And two of those interceptions were pick sixes.
They were pick sixes. Oh, yeah.
So literally, New England didn't even have to use their offense, and they still would have beat the Dolphins.
Yes, they would have. I mean, I'm almost 100% sure they didn't have to do a damn thing. They went 3 and out. I don't know how many times. I don't have that stat, but
I think even
so
NFL
times.
Headquarters lost count.
Oh yeah, it was so many times. I didn't know how to feel about that. I was like, you guys, I don't care how good a defense is. Like, y'all ain't the 2000 Ravens. God damn it, y'all can't be doing that. Y'all ain't the Steel Curtain. Y'all ain't the 85 Bears. Y'all Fitzpatrick isn't that bad, but he looked terrible because the rest of that team is garbage. And then Josh Rosen come in and looking even worse because he is garbage. So we're learning quickly that Josh Rosen is not that dude. Like, it doesn't matter who or what. He just is not that dude. And we're learning quickly because over there in Arizona, boys in games. My man Kyle Murray is in games.
He's not winning them yet, but he's at least keeping his team in
games.
Yep.
And last year they weren't in games.
No.
They were not in games.
Nope.
This dude Kyle Murray 25 for 40, 349 yards. No, he didn't get a touchdown. No, he didn't get an interception, but he's making plays.
Yeah, because I mean, you know how good the Cardinals are doing based on Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, if Larry Fitzgerald's having 5 for 104, like they're usually in the game. Like if Larry's getting the ball like that, they're usually in the game.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is.
Exactly. So yeah, Dolphins are going to be hard pressed to win a game this year. I can't see it. Of course, this is a league where any given Sunday, maybe Ryan Fitzmagic comes through and has a hell of a game, and then everything is all right with the world. But it's gonna be hard. They're gonna have to. I mean, it's gonna be hard pressed to go ahead and win one.
Yeah, I don't know where it'd come from. I'll tell you that
it's gonna be tough.
It's not gonna happen next week. Because next week they play the Cowboys in Dallas.
Oh God!
So
it's gonna be another. It's gonna be another
the
one.
Cowboys looking like that. That's gonna be another drubbing.
Oh man, they have the. I mean, that's three games that are not. I mean, those aren't great games to start with. No matter who you are. I mean, a lot of teams go 0-3 on that trip. You're just not gonna look that bad, but you might go 0-3 on that trip, no matter who you are.
Right, but you need to like score points.
Oh, you got to do something. You
can't get shut out and then score 10 points the week before. Like they've scored a combined 10 points.
So I just want to talk about this Eagles-Falcons game. I said it. I said we're going to go ahead and get this victory. And by God damn it, we did. By God. By the skin of our fucking teeth, as we normally do against the freaking Eagles. Now, this is what I've been hearing all week. All this crying. We lost all our players. Where? We had our second string out half the game. Where? The fucking Falcons last year, guys, first game of the season, lost all our defensive starters. Or is that what you forgot? You just seemed to forget that, didn't you? We lost all our defensive starters. We lost half our O-line that first game. I don't want to hear all that crying, Eagles fans. All that whining. Jesus.
That's just poor excuses.
Just whining.
In my opinion. Like I don't like when anybody uses injuries as an excuse in general.
Yeah. I was like
injuries happen to everybody. Some teams are luckier than others.
Absolutely.
With those. But I don't think that's a major excuse for a performance.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. I mean, listen, things happen in the game. Aguilar missed an easy pass. That could have not iced the game. Yeah,
he dropped a couple.
Yeah, but he missed one in the fourth. That I think it was like 2 minutes left or something like that. That could have put us in a world of hurt trying to come back again. Some craziness. But this time Julio caught a pass and went about 70 yards with it. I mean, that's he did make the plays this game. For us, and again, he got 100 yards. He got 100 yards again against the Eagles. I mean, he just torches the Eagles, torches them completely. Calvin Ridley had a great game, torched them completely. Matt Ryan had a shitty game with 3 interceptions. That's uncharacteristic of him. He really doesn't have a lot of those throughout his career. It looked like he was trying to make things happen when he didn't really need to try to make things happen. Like it's just one of those things where you should just throw that shit away. I thought the O-line played pretty well. Our defense played great. I really thought they played great. Wentz had a lot of issues all game long. He slipped out of some shit late too to make some great plays. I'm not going to take anything away from Wentz because he slipped out and made some plays that I didn't think he would be able to make, but he made them.
Well, here's my thing with what I saw of that game, because we were doing kind of like a double screen where we had the Eagles Falcons game on, and then we also had Clash of Champions. So I was kind of back and forth between it. But just from what I saw of Wentz, and I said, like, after this year, like, this is the verdict's in on Wentz, whether he is or is not the dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the thing I cannot argue against is he is incredibly elusive. Like, there were several times I looked over at that screen, I'm like, oh, they got him. And he gets out of there.
Oh, yeah.
And he got out. And I was like, oh, shoot, here we go.
Yep.
But then here's what happens is that he's still holding on to the ball.
Yes.
And then he's not making such great decisions. Like, that's what separates him. And a lot of people have compared him already to Big Ben, which, first of all, I don't think Carson can hold up playing that style of football that Big Ben does, because Big Ben is big. They don't call him Big Carson.
Well, he was already in concussion protocol that game.
Right, correct. But like,
and his ribs.
He's trying to play the style of football that Big Ben does,
right,
when he's actually a little bit more athletic and slender. And in my opinion, he should at least, like when he's scrambling around the backfield, why not try to run it? Why not try to actually run it, like rush it?
Right.
Because here in this game, he had that one. He had the touchdown where he dove in. It was real short, but I think he could be a quarterback, and I think he would have more success if he is one of those quarterbacks that takes off a little bit, like kind of like Russell Wilson.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
sure.
Russell Wilson isn't even doing it as much as he used to. Because I remember when Russell Wilson was running for like 100-some yards.
Right.
Like kind of like what Lamar Jackson's doing now. Like how Lamar Jackson ran for 122 yards.
Correct.
But then also threw, for a bunch of yards and touchdowns and stuff. Like I think Carson can have success with that because it'll keep the defense on their toes as to whether he's going to move or not. And that might open up some more things in the backfield that maybe some of his receivers, if a first read doesn't work or the pocket collapses and he gets out, that might leave a play open for him and he can make that decision. Where right now, even when he gets out of trouble from the initial pressure, that he's just scrambling around in the backfield looking for a play, and sometimes it happens, but that's just probability. Like it will happen. Like even a blind squirrel finds a nut. You know what I mean? But I think he'd have more success if those chances dwindled and he just kind of took the opportunities to gain the yardage himself and run a little bit to draw the defense down a little bit more on him. So maybe like a linebacker or something will spy him, and then that might leave Ertz open over the middle of the field that he can hit him for a quick slant or something, something along those lines. Like that's just what I saw based on this particular game. And I just don't think he's the best decision maker once he has eluded the initial pressure.
Right.
So like I said, I'm not like completely sold on him, but this game showed me that like, okay, he can escape pressure. He can get out of that pocket if he collapses. But what's he going to do after that? Is he going to throw an interception? Because he did throw 2 picks.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I mean, so what's he going to do after he gets out of there and his first read's blown? You know what I mean? Like, is he going to go to the second read? Can he even read the second read? Like, all those kind of decision-making things. I have not seen that from him.
As he gets, it's up to him. But the great quarterbacks, okay, even Matt Ryan. Yes, Matt Ryan is a great quarterback, guys. I'm sorry. They lead the receivers. They throw the receivers open. They throw the receivers open. They don't wait till they get open. They throw to a spot, and the receiver goes and gets it. Like the great receivers, they throw before the player has even turned to the ball, and then the ball is there. I think Wentz has a habit of waiting till that receiver is actually open and then trying to throw the ball. And guess what? By the time that shit is open, it's closed. You know what I mean? By the time he's actually open, it's closed. So he's holding on, waiting for somebody to actually be open instead of throwing them open. So that's one of those big things as a young quarterback getting more seasoned, he has to learn how to do. He has to learn how to throw the receivers open, making sure that, I can throw it to this spot. The receiver, you have to trust the receiver to go ahead and make that move so you can make that play. That's a big thing I've seen from him. But yeah, we got to him that day, and they have a good O line. They got a good O line. We actually gave him a lot of pressure, gave him a lot of hits. He got out a lot of sacks. I feel I counted maybe like 3 or 4 sacks he got out of with his slipperiness. So kudos to him. But they came away with that L, baby, in the ATL. Sorry, Eagles fans. I don't hear all that crying next week, goddammit. All that whining, crying like some babies and shit. All those Philly fans always be crying about something. All right. Let's talk about Cam Newton for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. One, because I don't know what we're supposed to do with Cam. Cam is like Big Ben right now, except he's younger by, I don't know, 9 years. Like, isn't he?
I mean, he is significantly younger.
He's younger by 9 years, I think. Something close to that.
Yeah. Well, because when did he come in the league? 2011, right?
2011? Yeah.
Yeah.
He came in 2011, and I think Ben came in 04, 05 or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, at least that's a 7-year difference.
So 7 years? 7 years?
At least 7 years experience, we can put it that way.
Yeah. So think about this, guys. He's about 7 years older, Big Ben. He's starting to break down like tremendously. Cam is starting to break down right now. Like, he's starting to break down right now before our very eyes. And it's a problem when it's your throwing arm too. It's not like he was the most accurate quarterback to begin with. Can we agree on that? Like, it's not like he was wheeling and dealing over here, like pinpoint accuracy ever. That has never been his game. He always had his legs.
Like we were talking about, a lot of his success early on came from the fact that he's not only big, but he's athletic,
right.
and he would run a lot.
Right.
Now he's a little older, gotten hurt a little more, trying to tone that back, but yet he hasn't refined his passing skills enough to continue to see that success. I mean, if you look at the Thursday night stats, he went 25 for 51, so that's just under 50%.
Right.
Now, he threw for 333 yards, but I mean, that's because
he threw the ball 51 times.
Yeah, like when you throw the ball 50 times, if you don't hit 300 yards, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, where are you throwing?
Exactly. So, I mean, you're throwing under 50% for the game. He looks terrible. Like, he really does, man. Like, he looks so bad out there. I just feel like I'm not saying he should retire or anything like that, but he needs to just get healed. Like, because if he's not fully healthy and that shoulder's bother him and he can't run either, like, he's not running the ball. He's not running with that ball anymore.
He's just not going to help that team win games anymore.
No, he's not.
Like clearly, because if he can't throw the ball and he's not running for anything,
right?
Like, what is he doing? Like, what are you doing back there?
Right. Right now, he's a detriment to the team a little bit. Now they're 0-2, and they really shouldn't be against Tampa Bay. My God. Tampa Bay gave him every avenue with Jameis Winston.
There were so many opportunities that they could have taken a lead or won the game, and right. they couldn't do it. They couldn't execute, and even still, Tampa Bay just like barely squeaked by on that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It was ugly.
It was an ugly game for sure. And when and after the game, here's the thing with Cam. Cam, after the game, this dude in his dress, this dude in his wear, I just don't understand, man. Like, you're losing games out here. You've been losing games. This is not new. Y'all, a matter of fact, I think they lost their last 5-6 games, like dating back to last week. Like that's pretty crazy to me. That's pretty crazy. You lost like your last 5 or 6 games dating back to last year, and you've been playing like garbage the entire time. Like, he has not been better. Matter of fact, it's worse.
Yeah, and then he's dressing like garbage.
And he's dressing like that. I mean, I don't get it. Like, I know, like, I don't understand. Like, unless if that's really you as a human being, because I don't think you were wearing that like when you first got in the league. Now, I'm just throwing it out there. But now you're getting worse and worse with this garb, and you're playing worse and worse. So
I mean, unless he found who he is,
yeah,
at some point, if he found who he is,
bro,
that's cool.
If that's absolutely.
But like you're losing games, and you're looking like Mrs. Doubtfire on the post game,
right?
There's a problem here.
Come on,
like you look nuts.
Yeah,
like you look like you lost everything.
Yeah,
like you look like you lost your home. You look like you lost your kids.
Oh my!
And all of a sudden you had to go to your brother
Jesus.
to get matchmaker, all that kind of stuff. Get your face molded. Get a babushka. Like you literally had to reenact Mrs. Doubtfire.
Hello?
Because you lost everything. You lost your running ability. You lost your accuracy. Like you lost all this stuff. You lost everything.
Oh,
and you're just like a shell of yourself. So that's why you look like Yentl.
Yeah, I think I think my man needs to take a step back and get his priorities straight. Chill out on the garb. Just wear normal clothes. I'm not saying to wear normal clothes, but like I feel like you're spending a lot of time figuring out what you want to wear.
Spending way too much time on his appearance.
Work on that playbook
during the pre and post game. You got to put that into your actual game. Like put that effort into being more accurate.
Yeah, work on that playbook.
Because if you're not running to try and keep yourself healthy, then you got to be more accurate when you throw the ball instead of does my babushka match my shoes?
Jesus. All right. Yeah, that's basically what's happening. We're playing the Colts. Who are you guys playing next week?
Believe we play the Jets at home.
Ooh, hope you don't catch nothing. Hope you don't catch something from that nasty motherfucker, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they said he is traveling, so I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden he's trying to be like Tom Brady's children.
That's what I said.
And start kissing him on the mouth.
I said you better Tom Brady better watch the fuck out. You can't do that to everybody.
Can't be kissing Darno.
No, can't do that to everybody. God damn.
No.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're playing. It's gonna be an interesting game for just because the Colts are 2-0 and they're looking pretty good. I hope we can squash that and go on a little run here. Maybe that's what we needed, a little win to get us off the schneid and start a little run.
The Colts aren't 2-0.
Are they not?
No.
Are they 1-1?
Yeah, they're 1-1 because they lost to the Chargers.
Oh, that's right. Oh, right. They barely lost to the Chargers.
They barely
right?
lost, but they also barely won again.
Oh,
they
fair.
also barely won last week.
Oh, the Chargers lost last week too. Fuck it. We're going to fuck them up. So, never mind.
I was going to say, you better change your stance.
I better change my stance now. We're going to fuck them up.
I don't think Jacoby's going to go all over you.
We're going to put that dick all over him. Put that dick on him. That dirty bird on him. All right. Let's get into the Clash of the Champions. So as the Maestro pointed out earlier, we did have a double screen rocking. I got some shit for it on Facebook talking about typical Falcons fan. I saw that. Don't think I didn't see that shit. Somebody said typical Falcons fan, not invested in my game. Listen, man, I am a wrestling fan and a football fan equally. I do not play favorites. When the wrestling is on, I will have wrestling on. I won't unless it's Raw. I don't really watch Raw like that because it's boring. But there's a lot of shit that went down, baby. There's a lot of shit that went down in the Clash of Champions, and I did have my eye on it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We had the pre-show, right?
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, first of all, I thought the Cruiserweight Championship match overall was a nice little way to start things off.
Sure.
They did some really cool things. The only issue I had was the very end. It was just the end was sloppy. It was just a sloppy finish.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Especially with the whole shoulder thing, because I know like as soon as somebody does a wrong thing with the shoulders, they point it out on the broadcast, and like it just looked, to somebody who's watched wrestling for a while, you take notice of some of those little things, and I noticed that clearly his shoulders weren't down, and then all of a sudden he fixed it so his shoulders were down, and then they counted the three. And then they counted the three, and that was like, come on, dude, at least try to recover in some way, or do the finisher again, or try to make it a little more authentic than just like, oh shit, my shoulders aren't down.
Yeah.
And then like, oops, sorry, I'm gonna put it back down so you can pin me now. Like it was just that kind of killed it. Any momentum in that match that they had kind of killed it for me. But at the same time, I think Humberto Carrillo really kind of showed off his skills here. Hopefully, enough people saw that they now kind of know who he is. Because I think before, unless you're watching 205 Live or maybe some NXT, you don't really know who this dude is. But now, if you're watching this pre-show, like you've seen Gulak wrestle a couple times, you've seen Lindsay even as in the Lucha House Party wrestle a couple times. But this is kind of this was Humberto's first real exposure on a pay-per-view, even if it's a pre-show. So maybe you can get some steam behind him, whatever. But overall, I enjoyed the match. It didn't tear down the house for me. But it wasn't something where I was completely appalled. And usually triple threat matches, I'm completely appalled at them. You know this. Every time there's a triple threat match, I complain, pretty much.
Yep.
But I liked it from the beginning because I liked that they gave the opportunity to these two dudes in one match. But the ending just didn't deliver for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm a big fan of Drew Gulak, and I'm a big fan of Humberto. Let's say, I mean, he did well. I mean, he's just not my dude. Like, he's just not my dude at all. He's a good wrestler. I just don't know. I just don't get him. I don't get him as a besides just being a part of the Lucha Party. I just like to see personality from guys. I just like to see personality from guys. Humberto has it. Drew Gulak has it. Lindsay, meh. So, but it was a good match. Drew is the man to me. I like how they have him at 203 for his weight. I think they listed him at 203. You know that boy. We saw him in person. Like, he looked bigger than 205. I mean,
oh yeah,
he looks bigger than 205. Yeah. Yeah, he is. I mean, there's no way I'm 100 pounds heavier than that man. Like, it's not possible. So it just ain't it. But yeah, the dude is but he's a great wrestler. Seemed like a good dude. So yeah. I'm happy. I just wish they were off the kickoff show, but I mean, it is, they're kicking it off with I get why they do it. It's just, I wish it was on a bigger stage, a bigger way to put it down. Speaking of cruiserweights, AJ Styles defeated Cedric Alexander to retain the United States title. That was pretty much a squash match. It really was. I mean, Cedric came out early and just tried to surprise him with some moves, looking like he might win or something like that, or might get the advantage, and then AJ quickly turned the tide and it was pretty much a squash after that.
Yeah, I was kind of miffed that they put this on the kickoff show because I was like, this could be a really great match. And then after seeing the match, I was like, all right, I understand why they did it because of how they booked it as basically this squash match. I mean, Cedric did get some moves in and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of weird, though, that they did that in front of his hometown crowd, too, because I didn't realize that at first until they had this gigantic pop for him. And I was like, why are they cheering so much? And then, I was like, oh, because he's from Charlotte. Right. So, I thought they'd give him a little bit more and at least let them go a little bit. But now after seeing how it was booked, I can see why they left that on the kickoff show. It was still exciting. I still enjoyed the match, even though it was a glorified squash match. I also think AJ Styles needed one of those matches because he really hasn't had that in quite a long time where he just looks like the man. Because I mean, he is the man. He's making pretty much everybody look good when he wrestles them. I mean, so I think he needed that kind of win, especially over somebody who the audience is starting to get into now. Like Cedric's starting to get a following. People are starting to get on his side. He's not just kind of like a lukewarm body there anymore. People are getting behind him. And so the fact that AJ can take some of that heel heat and squash him like that, especially if they're trying to develop him into a top heel like that, I think that's the way they needed to go with this. So I give him credit for booking the match this way, but I'm interested to see where it goes from here. I don't know if that's going to be it for the two of them, or if there's going to be a little bit more. I guess it all depends on which direction, the OC goes at this point, whether they're still going to have a little bit of something. Because I would actually like to see them wrestle again and actually have time. Because I think they've wrestled a couple times on Raw, but like no one pays attention to that, and they weren't like burning down the house with it. But I think if you give them a slot on the pay-per-view at some point, like they could actually tear the house down.
Yeah, no, definitely. Those are two great competitors, two awesome dudes, and I get why they're on the pre-show. I mean, it's all good. All right, so this is a predictable opening, was it not? I mean,
oh yeah, it was the most predictable opening because it's here's the thing, because I remember when we were watching, as soon as I saw like Seth Rollins come out, I was like, oh, are they going to do it? Are they going to pull the trigger and put the championship match first? I got low key excited for a minute because I was like, if they do that, I'll pop real hard.
But then I was like,
it's going to be the tag match.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, it's going to be the tag. Yeah. So I knew they would book it. Like it was very predictable. Yeah. The match served its purpose.
Yes, it did.
You know what I mean, it served its purpose. However, interesting fact here. Robert Roode was the one that ended up pinning Rollins. So does that mean Robert Roode might get a main event push here? I would love it. I would love that. Like if this was the vehicle to get both, not only Robert Roode into that picture, but also Ziggler back in the main event picture, I'm in.
Well,
I'm in. Like if that was kind of like the purpose it served, because not to say there's anything wrong with chasing the 24/7 title, but like Robert Roode's better than that. You know, he's a more valuable asset than like someone like Titus O'Neil just running around for the 24/7 title. You know what I mean? Like he is way more he can be way more valuable to the company as a heel, even if it's a mid-card heel. But like mid-card, top heel, I think he could absolutely do that. So if like this is a way to kind of bump him up there by getting a clean, because it was a fairly clean pin over the champion. I mean, he DDT'd him, got the pin. Yeah, there was a little bit of like, okay, Strowman knocked into him, which knocked into Rollins, and Rollins hit his head on the turnbuckle, whatever. Like it stunned him, but it wasn't like absolute, complete, unheard of fuckery, basically. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like Braun Strowman chokeslammed him or gave Seth Rollins a power slam and then he just, limped over for the cover. Like he actually got his finisher on him and got the pin. So that's what I took out of the match, at least.
Oh yeah. It's like, to me, it was just super predictable. I expected it. It was fine. It was a good match. And it is what it is. It is what it is. But new champions. So that was pretty cool. I know B Double wasn't a fan.
It was predictable, but
B Double wasn't a fan because he's a Bobby Roode fan too. Yeah. So understandable for sure. Bayley and Charlotte. So Bayley's a heel now. She's a heel. So she did some dastardly shit and came away with it went quickly. Wasn't expected.
No, I thought that was fantastic.
I loved it.
I really did. I loved it because you're used to, you're not used to Bayley doing some of those things, but the fact that she had the referee distracted as she took the turnbuckle off the corner and then slammed Charlotte's face into the turnbuckle and rolled her up, like stunned her, kind of made it seem like she knew she had to do some of that to keep her title, and then she just took off. Like I think that's I like seeing just this new sort of layer or development for Bayley, because for so long we've seen her, being all hugs and smiles and all this kind of stuff, and she's playing this heel, but she doesn't think she's a heel. She still thinks she's doing what she needs to do. So I don't know. I really like this. I'm really curious to see where this character goes. I'm liking where the character is so far, and I think this is also a way to kind of cut down some time on the matches, because a quick victory here, and it was believable too. Like it wasn't just like it wasn't like screwy with like a complete disqualification or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it was, it had a finish to it. There was a pin, but it was still, chicken shitty enough that it still makes Charlotte look strong and kind of gets across what Bayley's character is supposed to be.
Right. They had the New Day lose their titles again.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, another title change for them. The Revival. I mean, I love the Revival. It was a good match. It was a really good match. So, I mean, that was. I don't know if it was predictable or not, but I get where they're going with it. So good for them. I hope Big E turns heel, please, some point.
I know you're still waiting for that. I think you're gonna be waiting for a while.
God damn it!
It doesn't. I would have. Yeah, I think you're gonna be waiting for a while
forever.
Because I mean, especially I think at this point, which we'll get to the Kofi Randy match later, but with how that match played out, seeing the Revival beat the New Day, it almost took the possibility away of Randy Orton beating Kofi, just in my mind, because I was like, oh, I don't think all of those titles are going to change hands and go over to this, to their side now for the FTRKO and stuff like that. But I'm still kind of like, I don't know how I feel about the decision, like other than just like I like the Revival, I like the New Day. But as far as like trying to see where story's going, I'm kind of confused. Like I don't really know where this is going now, other than if they just get a rematch, and then if they win the titles back, or if that's kind of like the blow off after that. Like I just, I would have thought that New Day would have still retained in some way, shape, or form. Now the finish made sense to me because of how they got the submission win because they worked on Xavier's knee. Like right. I totally get that part of the story, but as far as like switching the titles right there, like that's why I guess I'll wait to see how that plays out. If they do get another shot, say at like Hell in the Cell or whenever, and see if they win the titles back, and just kind of they played up the knee injury. Like I knew that was part of the storyline, but I didn't know it was going to be that big a part of the story to the point where they'd lose the title because of the knee injury, and like that would be the vehicle behind this title change and kind of behind the rest of their feud. So like I just caught me a little bit off guard. I get that part of it, but I guess I'm curious to see where it goes from there, because I'm kind of confused as to where it will go, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The problem is that, we know we've been watching WWE for a long time, so sometimes they do this shit for no reason, just to make a title change. So just to do it. So we don't know where it's going. Hopefully it goes somewhere, but we never know with WWE, because it just, now you're just wasting title changes if you don't. That's the problem when you switch titles just to switch them without any real reason. That devalues the title. So every time that happens, it just devalues it. No matter how good the matches are, it just devalues the title. But yeah, that's the stuff you don't want. So yeah, hopefully something good comes out of it. That's all you can hope for. Next we had my favorite ladies all in one ring.
All the ladies
in one ring.
All the ladies.
Yeah, I love them all. It wasn't a bad match at all. It was a nice little match.
It was a good night to be that referee too.
Oh yeah,
just being in the ring.
Oh yeah,
with all four of them.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I love them all. Obviously, Alexa and Nikki were gonna win. They had a nice, good near fall though. I think somewhere in there that made us. At least made me. Oh, they may win. Yeah, and that's what you want.
Well, they hit their finisher.
The finisher, right?
They hit their finisher on Alexa Bliss, but then at the last minute, Nikki Cross broke up the pin.
Right.
So what the?
On Amazon Music.
Oh, what the? What is this? What the fuck is this?
We keeping it in, baby.
No, I'm keeping. Oh, damn it! You know what it is. You know what it is because I said it's because I said Alexa.
Oh yeah, you did.
Alexa, stop.
No, we keeping that in, baby. That's so good.
Ain't that a bitch? That's my Alexa Amazon Echo.
When you called a bitch up, Alexa, she said, "Hey, what's good, baby?"
I don't even know what she played.
Don't you wish that was Alexa Bliss? You better.
I wish she was at my beck and call. I'd do that. I wish I could just say, I'm not going to say that word again.
She pop up.
She might play some other music or whatever. I don't even know what that was. That wasn't even music I ever heard before. Like usually when I say like, Alexa play blah, 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 whatever. And then, it's something that I've actually used in my house or something like that. But this time it was like some honky tonk country stuff.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
what the world? I don't.
No, she's trying to set the mood for you. That's all. She want that mood a little. Yeah, she wants to take you out on the country. She wants to see what's good.
I think she got jealous. I was talking about all four of these women in the ring, and she was like, "Hey, you have me at home. Why are you talking about that one when you could talk about this one? Play you some country music, big boy."
Oh my God, that was great.
That's some shit.
So let's move on. Let's go to Shinsuke Nakamura and The Miz. It was a good match. I mean, it really was. It was a good match. I'm still trying to figure it all out with everybody in the match. I love Nakamura, and Zayn was on the microphone for a while. All that. I mean, it was cool. I mean, it was cool. I'm just trying to figure it all out. I haven't watched it like that. I'm not really invested in the characters of either of them. Miz as a face, I just can't get behind. It's hard for me to. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. Miz has healed me. I don't know. The Miz
it's very lackluster as a baby face. But like I said before, it's probably for the TV show.
Sure.
So people watch the TV show. I get that.
No, it makes sense.
But it's whatever. And they're still, this new Shinsuke Nakamura thing with Sami Zayn. It's still in its infancy right now. What I did like though was last week on SmackDown, not this past week, but the week before, like the week of Clash of Champions. What was interesting is, Sami Zayn wasn't there, so Nakamura was left to his own, and he was on commentary for a match, and all he did was speak in Japanese.
Oh, I love it.
So I think that was great because that kind of shows that, like, he doesn't give a shit about what questions are being asked, whatever. Like Brian Saxton kept asking him questions, and he just kept, firing off responses in Japanese, and like I think that was perfect for what they're going for with this character, because like, he feels that he doesn't have to learn or have to speak English because that's not his thing, and that Sami Zayn will do it for him and all that kind of stuff. So that part I liked about it. So I was interested to see where it would go here, but it was just kind of Sami Zayn playing that annoying manager heel sort of thing, doing his little interferences to cost Miz, the record-tying title reign, all that kind of stuff. I get why they did that. I don't think Nakamura needs that necessarily, but if that's the way they're going with it, okay for now. I'll have to see. I'll have to see a little bit more, a couple more matches, with their dynamic together like that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, I love the Miz. I love Shinsuke. I love Sami Zayn. I just all this new stuff. I'm just giving me a hard time getting invested. Who I am invested in is Sasha Banks.
Oh,
I'm invested in her completely, 100%. Becky Lynch too. She's awesome as well. They had a great match, and I liked the finish too. Nobody was mad about the finish, so that was good. Nobody was like, oh, there's no finish to the match, even though there was no finish to the match. You know what I mean? Like the fans were involved. They weren't mad. You know what I mean? That there was a non-finish. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think it's because they put on such an entertaining match. Like this, arguably, this could have been match of the night, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I think it is. Is there anything better than that?
No, I don't think so.
No,
because I mean, I'll tell you the main event wasn't. And,
nope.
Even though Kofi and Randy got time, I didn't.
It wasn't great.
I didn't. No, it was okay. So like I would definitely say that this was match of the night, and then all of a sudden I just thought it was an interesting wrinkle about how that Becky Lynch hit the referee with the chair to to pick up the DQ, even though she was going to swing at Sasha Banks, which even if like she did do that, still would have been DQ'd if the referee was paying attention right. You know what I mean? So like either way, she was getting this disqualification, which is interesting to me because usually the face doesn't do that kind of stuff unless they're all like fired up or whatever. But there was no, other than like some of like the trash talk and all that kind of stuff, there was no real rhyme or reason to do that. But then like after the referee just went down, I mean, they started going everywhere and like battling through all this stuff. I just thought it was a very good. I thought it was a very good way that if you're going to have the DQ finish to kind of keep both of them strong, that you're at least going to let them do stuff to make up for it. Because usually you'll see a bunch of those finishes where the DQ happens and all of a sudden the match stops and everybody goes back to the back and you're like, well, what the hell?
Right.
But like this one, they let them keep going. Like they fought all over the arena. They were doing some other stuff. She locked in the disarmer through the chair, all that kind of stuff. Like it was very creative. It still gave fans enough entertainment of what they wanted that they really didn't mind that there was not a clear winner. Because, Sasha won the match, but it was by disqualification. So she didn't win the title. Mm-hmm. So clearly this is going to go somewhere.
Yeah,
my prediction,
Cell, right?
Yeah, my prediction is they're going to fight each other in Hell in a Cell at the pay-per-view.
Hell.
Yeah.
In a cell.
Yeah, so I would assume that's where it's going now, because now you can't have any disqualifications, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I thought they did a really good job even before the referee got out. I still thought this was match of the night before all that stuff where they were battling all around. But that just made it way more entertaining and kind of raised it up in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're great. I think Sasha Banks is one of the best. I think it goes like Charlotte and then Sasha as far as wrestling goes, for me anyway. Next we had Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton for the how many times in the last? Just a bunch of times. It's a lot of matches. And it, like you said, it went long and it wasn't that great. But he won clean. He won clean over Randy Orton.
Yeah. I mean, he did. And that was something I think he needed if he was going to continue to be the champion, is he needed to have a clean, decisive win that wasn't really super chicken shitty. Although, even toward the end, like, Randy Orton was beating up on him pretty good, and, he just wanted to destroy him, so that's why he ended up missing the punt.
Right.
And then he countered with the Trouble in Paradise, and that's how he picked up the win.
Right.
So you could kind of see it as like Orton's hubris cost him the match.
Sure.
Where really he could have easily won the match toward the end. So like even still, it was still not necessarily the strongest booking of a WWE champion.
But it was better.
But at the same time, he won pretty clean. Like he was still taken to the brink.
Right.
He still, like, Randy Orton put a whooping on him, and he still got some of his stuff in, and but I think how they booked it, like putting that match on right after that spectacular women's match, I think just killed any kind of momentum Kofi could have had, while he was making any kind of comebacks. Because really, like, he started to make a little bit of a comeback, and people were just kind of like, meh, whatever. I mean, I think the crowd was so into that last match that you couldn't put that match on right afterward and expect the crowd to be just as hot.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I think that kind of hurt some things from that perspective, because believe it or not, when you sit and watch at home, you sometimes judge a match and you think a match might be better or worse than it is based on how the crowd's reacting.
Of course, yeah.
So, I kind of think that helped, or no, it did not help Kofi's case at all here to have sort of like the crowd had already basically blown its load on that last match, and now all of a sudden you're trying to make it go again to try and get behind him and really rally behind him, whereas, at WrestleMania it was a totally different story.
Yeah, I think they've been kind of stale for Kofi's matches lately. I mean, reality, he's faced Orton a couple times. I mean, hopefully it's the last time. I don't want to see these guys wrestle anymore. I mean, that's just personal opinion. It's cool if you don't agree, but for me, I'm done.
Yeah, I just don't know what else they're gonna do with him as champion.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like I just really don't know what else they're gonna do with him.
They can turn Big E heel, and then we'll be okay. That's what I need.
Yeah,
turn him heel, more opportunities. Then they can go for 3. That would make sense because they got a real thing going. That would be like a real thing. That would be real heat. Then they could go for 3 matches in a row, blah, 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 do all the thing, do 3 stages of hell, whatever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at that point. That's a real rivalry. I don't want to hear from Randy Orton like 10 years later about how Kofi didn't get a shot and that he's stupid.
Yeah. and that would help elevate it if it was over the championship. But just to me, the optics of it, like even though New Day can kind of do no wrong from an entertainment standpoint, I would see that kind of match as if like, you know, Jinder Mahal was facing somebody else, or like, you know, when they had the world heavyweight title and had like Jack Swagger be the champion. Like it just seems kind of devalued to
What's
me
that?
at this point. The championship itself.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like, you know, and especially if you put Kofi versus Big E for the WWE championship, like that doesn't read to me. It doesn't read like marquee match.
Ooh, I disagree. I think it would.
Whereas like at least putting Randy Orton in there, you're like, okay, he's had a history of being in there. You know, it's still not like the greatest match, whatever. But like, I don't think, to put it in Tony Schiavone's words, I don't know if that would put butts in seats.
You know, I disagree. I think people have been waiting for Big E to be the dude, and he would turn heel on him and be the dude, have beat Kofi for the title, have like a series of matches with Big E coming out on top, and then Big E become this monster heel. I think he absolutely would be. I think he would be the dude. I think absolutely would be. I think he'd be up there like that.
I would literally have to see it, because the last time we saw Big E as sort of like a monster heel, he really wasn't, if that makes sense.
No, I think he was, but they made him a face really fast, and they ruined it. They know that's what happened. Like he was an awesome heel, and then they ruined it by making him a face.
See, I didn't really catch on. I didn't really catch on to him like that.
I mean,
when he was the heel.
That's what he was though. Like he was a heel, and he was doing his thing with Ziggler and all that good stuff. I mean, I thought he was great then, but later, I mean, I just think, you know, I just think, and that was back in the day. Like he's way more seasoned now, so I just think it's his time. I like Kofi where he is. That's cool. I'm glad he got his shot. Glad he got his title run. But I think I really dig Big E in that role as a big heel, big top heel, big strong guy. Really uses power as a heel. You know what I mean? That's the type of stuff I'd like to see. Just show his strength and all that good stuff. Show his skill set really, because he's just a power lifter. I mean, he's one of the strongest guys on the roster. Sure. So like, I know Braun is number 1, but literally Big E is number 2. Like he's second guy, strongest guy on the roster, but they don't book him like that. So
right.
I would like to see him being used in that role.
I don't know. It just seems like every time they try to do that with somebody, they have trouble with it. Like even when Braun, with Braun Strowman.
Well, they suck at it. They should have. Look. Well, let's go there. Oh no, wait. Well, we got Roman Reigns and Eric Rowan. No, forget that. Let's go to the other. Let's do that last.
We'll do that last anyway, because that probably had my favorite moment.
Yeah.
Anyway,
for sure. So let's do that. Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman deal, and it was okay match. I mean, it was a lot like the Lesnar match. I don't know, like it's, you know, how many of these matches can you do? You know,
well, this was one where they build up way too much story for not enough payoff in the end.
Right.
In my opinion, like they made way too much of the story, where they're the tag team champions and they're working together and then hinting the turmoil, and then all of a sudden they get to the match and like of course they're gonna, beat the shit out of each other in the match. I mean, it did take Seth Rollins a bunch of curb stomps and a pedigree to secure the win.
Right.
But like at the end of the day, I still don't think, for as much as they protect some of these other guys from looking weak, even in the fact that it took Seth Rollins 4 curb stomps. Like, okay, so we're kind of in this day of age now where like just because you hit a finisher doesn't mean the match is over.
Right.
So for example, like if a dude hits their finisher twice in a match and the dude kicks out twice, like we don't necessarily think, oh, it's because he's super strong.
Right.
Like, no, it's because it's kind of like,
well, it's a big match to kick out. Yeah.
Right. Like okay, cool. We keep the match going. So to me, the optics of like, I understand why they did that is because they thought the optics of Braun Strowman taking 4 curb stomps plus a pedigree plus selling this knee injury, and then he finally loses clean to Seth Rollins. Like, I get why they were thinking that would still protect him and keep him like this monster. But at the same time, in this day and age where it's almost too common to see dudes kick out of finishers multiple times, I don't think that's a credible way anymore to protect your monster heel, which
right.
is, kind of like my thing is that, I mean, Braun could legitimately be this monster heel. And speaking of like monster heel, this whole Bray Wyatt thing and the Fiend, like the fact that he already has a shot at the Universal Championship leaves me very skeptical, because they really could have something here that is like biggest monster heel of all time. The fact that like, and I know you brought this up before, I don't remember if it was on here or if it was just when we were talking, but like the fact like, or the fact that like the Fiend character should not lose ever.
No, he should never lose.
Like he should never lose.
He should never lose.
And the fact that already he's got a championship match, so either he's going to win the belt in about 3 weeks at Hell in the Cell, but then at the same time he's not going to keep that belt forever.
Right.
So, like, to me, this whole Bray Wyatt Fiend thing, I feel like should be just strictly a special attraction. Because, like, especially if he's doing what he's doing with the Funhouse and all that kind of stuff, he doesn't need a belt to elevate himself.
Right.
Like, he can just come out, do whatever he wants, just beat people as the Fiend, and that's it. Like, he doesn't have to do anything else. He can still have high-profile feuds. Like, hell, he could retire The Undertaker at WrestleMania as the Fiend, and like career made. You know what I mean? Like that's it. So like it just makes, when you're talking about Big E and booking him as a monster heel, I just don't buy it, because I have yet to see them really do well with a monster heel. Because like they had a chance with Samoa Joe, they've had a couple chances with Braun Strowman now. They have this chance right now with the Fiend, which already has me skeptical because he's already in a title match after literally, I think, wrestling, one match so far as the Fiend?
You know what would have gotten him over? I mean, the Fiend is already over. But can you imagine him and like Paul Heyman and Brock standing in the middle of the ring talking shit, and all of a sudden the Fiend comes out and lays him out? Like, I mean, that type of shit gets you over. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's for real. He got, or like even Strowman, like just Strowman, like fuck Seth, like Strowman does not just. I mean, that makes somebody a monster.
Yeah.
When you take down a monster, that makes you a monster. You know what I mean? That's the type of thing that needs to happen with some of these guys. Like Strowman has lost to Brock every time. He's lost to Rollins. He's lost to all these guys that have been on top. I mean. Mm-hmm. He hasn't won anything, so it makes him look like ridiculous almost. Like what? Okay, like it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Yeah, but it was cool. The Fiend came out at the end, and you know, I expected it. We were waiting for it. You know what I mean? And then he came out.
Well, yeah, especially since they already gave away that he's going to challenge whoever wins for the title. Which, like, if you wouldn't have done that, I think that reaction, like him coming out and attacking the champion, would have been way more over. But the fact that they already kind of gave away where they're going, almost shot themselves in the foot in a way.
Right. So the last match, well, not the last match, the second last match, but it was the most exciting to me because it was Roman Reigns and Eric Rowan, and it was a much better match. First of all, you don't see Eric Rowan in singles competition like that. You know what I mean? So that was fun to see against Roman Reigns. It was a very competitive match all the way through. I did not know it was no disqualification because I don't watch wrestling like that. Like especially more like WWE like that. So that was cool. It was a good match. Roman Reigns, he shined. I thought he made Roman look really good. And at the end, we got a nice surprise with Luke Harper coming back, and Eric Rowan got the win. Like it was very surprising. I did not think that was going to happen. So that was fun.
Yeah, that's why I thought this was a great match, because it served several purposes. And even though, like, you know, the inner workings of the match, like, you know, of course it was no disqualification, so there's obviously going to be some sloppiness, and you know, I thought for the most part this was a pretty good big man match because it's between two big dudes. They were doing some pretty good things. You know, they really took to the no disqualification stuff. They did the spots with the camera again, like they did on Raw, you know, during that week. But then all of a sudden, when you think it's just going to be, you know, you're going to be bored to death again because it's going to be Roman, of course, conquering all and getting the victory over Eric Rowan. Like that's what everybody and their mother thought. All of a sudden, Luke Harper comes out and takes out Roman Reigns and helps Rowan get, you know, it's not a clean win, but I mean, since it's no DQ, that's the win. You know what I mean? So like it, you know, it helps things out. The only thing that kind of puts a wrinkle in this whole thing is now it seems like they've completely abandoned the whole Daniel Bryan thing.
Yep.
As far as being a heel, kind of like a heel of heels, which could be okay, depending on what they're going to do with Daniel Bryan. Because if they're going to shove him back in the mid card again, like doing that kind of stuff, and being like the babyface yes guy, like I know some people will be like super excited for that. That doesn't like super excite me. I would have liked to see a new direction for Daniel Bryan. I was actually liking the new Daniel Bryan. Like I thought that was a great character. I thought it was, you know, he was having some good momentum there. But it seems like this is trending more toward, you know, Daniel Bryan coming back as a face. You know, and I don't know why they changed it. Maybe it was because of Harper specifically. I don't know, but you know, after that time where Daniel Bryan was involved with Rowan, you know, it made it seem like Daniel Bryan was going to be involved with this, and then all of a sudden they kind of abandoned that, and they abandoned the whole Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns conflict too, especially if they end up doing something where, you know, Daniel Bryan joins Roman Reigns, because then they'll just forget that Roman also speared him and blah 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 and thought he was the one behind it and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where you know, you're seeing WWE's flaws in their storylines, is that they just kind of abandon things without any real rhyme or reason to it. But who knows? Maybe there could be something down the line that I'm not seeing, which if that's the case, that would be awesome. But generally how these things have gone in the past is that when this comes about, they just happen to abandon it. And, you know, they think most of us forget that stuff. But like that's kind of like leaving a plot hole in a Marvel movie. You know, like the most adamant of Marvel fans find that stuff. You know, your general fan probably won't remember it, won't realize it. Just like the people who aren't fans of the comics for those Marvel movies, it probably wouldn't have even fazed them. But, if you're talking about the people that have followed the comics and been Marvel fans for decades and all that kind of stuff, and then they go and see this movie and know, exactly which comic this is based out of and where the story's from, and all of a sudden things don't happen, like, that's kind of what that is to me in this case.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I just hope that Luke and Rowan stay healthy, because they've been derailed every single time by health. They've had to be repackaged at least 3 times. This is like the 3rd time they've been repackaged. So they've been together with the Wyatt family. Then they were by themselves doing solo stuff, because one was injured, one was not. Then the other one was injured, one was not. Then they came back as the Bludgeon Brothers. Then Luke got hurt again. Like, I mean, it's been up and down for them. But yeah, best of luck to them both. I love both those guys. I love Luke Harper especially. So I hope good things are in the works for them. I don't know if you saw this news about Felipe Vasquez.
Yeah, I did. I saw the alert on my phone, but I have not dove into it, and I have not really read about it.
Okay.
I just kind of know the surface.
So let me just read a little bit of this. For those who don't know, Felipe Vasquez is the Pittsburgh Pirates closer. Good pitcher, and he leads. I think he leads the league in saves, doesn't he? The National League.
Yeah, I think the National League.
One of the top guys. In saves. So he has been, I guess, arrested for felony counts of soliciting a child for unlawful sexual conduct using computer services or devices.
Did Chris Hansen catch him?
And and also faces serious charges in Pennsylvania, according to statements. So this is in Florida. He has one in Florida and in Pennsylvania, 2 different places.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. One count for giving obscene material to a minor. And then accused Tuesday, Pennsylvania, of statutory sexual assault of a person who is under the age of 16 by someone who is at least 11 years older. Unlawful contact with a minor, corruption of a minor by a defendant who is 18 years old or older, and indecent assault on a person less than 16 years old. Jesus. The first 2 charges are first-degree felonies. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
Oh, that's what's like. We had this conversation with the whole Antonio Brown thing, and there's been so many cases in sports where these guys they seem to have the world at their feet, and then all of a sudden they go and do stupid shit like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what of all the things you could do, it's inexplicable to me, honestly. Like that kind of stuff is sickening. It's inexplicable. I mean, I don't have kids of my own, but I mean, I couldn't even imagine.
No, seriously.
What it would be like to not only be a parent of one of those kids, but to even just fathom it being my own child, and I just don't understand, other than literally some kind of mental illness or defect. I literally don't understand why anybody, especially of that magnitude, of somebody
stature,
who has the celebrity, would do something like this.
Get yourself caught up in that way, man. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
So it definitely is a mental health thing for sure. But yeah, we'll keep that up to date too, because that just came out today, tonight. So that's crazy. And
I mean, they already wiped. It seems like they already wiped. Pittsburgh Pirates have already kind of wiped clean of him.
Yeah, he's done.
I'm reading further that they they cleaned out his locker,
Oh,
all
shit.
all the pictures of him, like if they had pictures of him at the park and stuff, like in promotional material, like he's all wiped out of it. Like they
Yeah.
already did that, like they already cleared house of that. So
This is a legit thing. This is not like one of those. I think they got proof. So
oh,
like,
yeah.
so
Well, yeah,
it's not good.
even so,
Right.
even if they don't have proof, this is one of
it's
those.
not good.
This isn't, this isn't farting in a doctor's face.
No.
This is dealing with
Right.
children
Right.
in a way that children should not be
Right.
handled. You know what I mean? So I don't even care if he's not guilty. Like you could, like to even get caught up in something.
Right.
Like,
Don't get yourself in that.
like
Don't
to
get yourself in that.
even come close to getting caught up
Right.
in something like that. Like it's still not acceptable,
Right.
especially if you are a person of that kind of celebrity. And I'm
Right.
not saying he's like, tip top.
No, but
he's not like Mike Trout or Cody Bellinger
no,
or
but it
anything.
doesn't matter. You're a
But the fact
professional
that
athlete.
you're a professional athlete making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
Yeah.
People are paying to see you. All this kind of stuff. You're playing a sport for a living, for a lot of money, and you go and do something like this. Like that's where my sympathy runs out for most of these guys that get caught up in that stuff.
Yeah. It's super unfortunate. I hope the families of the kids are okay going through that stuff. Speaking of mental health, I just want to give, you know him. You've seen him up close and personal Big Cass rolling by you, hollering at your girl that you were hanging out
Oh
with.
man, that was something.
Call you on Tinder and all that stuff. But real talk, I hope he gets the help he needs, man. Like he's going through some stuff too. Like it's like this mental health stuff is real. Get help. Like, I know he says he's planning on getting professional help. I don't know why it's taking him this long. He knows he's been having some issues, like probably ever since. Even before, but he had that seizure and everything. That can't be like it's not unrelated. Like I feel like all that stuff is not unrelated.
Well, yeah, and that whole incident where basically he got in a fight with Janela in the backstage, and then all of a sudden the fact that he didn't remember what it was, and and it wasn't necessarily all any kind of substance related. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's just the sad thing is, to kind of bring it over a whole blanket, is that it seems like way too often these things are happening, and now within the past couple years we're starting to put like the whole mental health thing in perspective. But even still, just our society in general thinks that the whole mental health thing is still like a negative and a stigma,
right?
When really it's it's just like having a physical ailment. We don't alienate people, or we don't deride them because they have cancer,
right?
Or we don't that kind of stuff. So like mental health, even though there's no physical signs of it sometimes, like it's still just as important to the overall well-being of a person.
Absolutely.
as saying curing cancer, or fixing a broken arm, or things of that nature. And it seems like all of these things that are coming up with these people all too often lead back to something like that. And it's just so unfortunate for those people.
Yeah.
Because I actually seeing Big Cass live a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
The one time was, in fact, the night that he went down with that seizure.
Yeah.
We were there,
absolutely,
in Philadelphia when that happened at the House of Hardcore show. We weren't there when he actually went down. Like we were sitting down in our seats, and it was like way away from us.
Right.
But that day he was at the convention, and he just looked completely out of it. I initially thought he was on something. I was like, oh man, he's probably fucked up on some drugs or alcohol, whatever. Really didn't look great at all. And then all of a sudden that happens. It's like, well, okay, I get that. Then I saw him again at another convention, and he was absolutely fine. He was incredibly energetic. He was great with the fans. Like he didn't look like a pilot. Like it didn't look like he just got run over by a truck.
Right.
He was actually in pretty good shape. So clearly there's some kind of disconnect in his mind or in his mental framework that is causing these issues. And I think he's definitely not the only person that's going through this kind of stuff. And I think we as an entire society need to do better about getting those people help instead of just calling them incredibly crazy, like Antonio Brown. Like, as much as I can't back up what he did with the sexual misconduct and all that kind of stuff, like, he's another dude that clearly just needs the help. But sometimes these people go too far without getting the help, and we need to do a better job in general of just trying to stomp that stuff out before it goes to those kind of extreme levels.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody who's going through, I mean, this is not, I know it's a sports show, but anybody who's going through something, like, do not be afraid to talk to anybody. Like, don't be afraid to seek help. You know what I mean? Just be open with anybody if you're going through some type of stuff like that. I know we got all serious for a moment, but it's real, because a lot of stuff is going on like every single day, and these are like professional athletes going through a lot of stuff, and it's on display, and a lot of stuff is not on display for everybody. A lot of people are keeping a lot of things quiet, so do not be afraid to talk to somebody, get some help that you need, so you are feeling good, at least feeling better, and you can go on living life the best way you possibly can. That'll do for the show today. You can follow us on Twitter at the Sweatshop Pod, on Instagram as well at the Sweatshop Pod. Look us up on Facebook, the Sweatshop Podcast. We're gonna be on Spotify. We're gonna be on YouTube. We're gonna be on SoundCloud. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, all the good things. What was our saying? We're gonna have a saying to end the podcast. What is it? The shop is closed.
Oh yeah, we're closing up shop.
We're closing up shop, baby. Have a good one, guys.